Luke and Susie live on Facebook and YouTube, so get involved and add your thoughts into the chat. We would love to have you as a part of the show. Suze, we're going to deal with a bunch of topics.
Yes.
As usual, there's some serious stuff and there is some ridiculous things going on, Suze.
Commonly, yes.
A constant state of. We're going to get to all this. We'd love you to be involved in the Luke and Susie Discourse.
Next.
The Luke and Susie quotable in just moments, and it's talking about insanity.
It's Luke and Susie with Faith, Family, Culture. It's Luke and Susie with you. We're broadcasting from Greece.
The wise words of someone from yesteryear. So, Suze, a question has been asked by Caroline, and it's a question.
It's not uncommon.
Yeah, and look, it has a technical right answer, but there is still a raging debate about it. And I'm unhappy with what the technical right answer is because I think it's wrong.
Yeah.
And it's all about the graphic mode spelt GIF. And is it pronounced GIF or is it pronounced GIF? Is it a hard G sound or a J sound? Suze, what do you say?
I say little animation.
Little-
So I don't have to say it and end up in a debate every single time.
No, you get off the
Okay.
fence, Suze. It
All
must
right.
be very painful.
Personally, I think the person who created them is a troublemaker
Yes.
and deliberately set
Yeah.
about creating trouble because the story goes they pronounce it GIF, but the G stands for graphic. Mm-hmm. So therefore it's a G.
Yep.
It's a hard G.
So
My
you could
natural
say-
pronunciation
you could-
would be GIF.
You could say because he created it, he can tell you how to pronounce it. But it's an acronym, so he can just go jump in the lake. He's wrong. And he did it deliberately to play on it. It was a pun on an advertising campaign. But it's GIF. It's a Giphy. It's not a Jiffy. I just can't bring myself to say that the letter G that stands for graphic is not graphic.
It's not traffic.
It's not graphic. So you can't acronym it down and change the sound of the consonant. You can't.
Me and my
can't.
little animation is what suits me. But how do you pronounce GIF?
A little animation.
Little animation.
Okay, Vicky, is it a GIF or is it a GIF?
It's a GIF, and it's short for gift. You're sending someone a gift.
Yeah.
Oh,
Which is
I like that.
Yeah. Which is another use of it, but again, the owner sort of makes his little arguments. But I'm with you, Vicky. I think it's great.
I like that you say it's sending someone a gift too, because I think they're actually a much clearer form of communication because you can read body language and tone in it.
It suits me because it's over dramatic.
Yeah.
It's a way for me to be overly expressive, and yet if I get in the wrong conversation with the group using GIFs, then it gets out of control and I can't focus anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm lost. So if there's too many people sending too many GIFs, and I'm still sticking with GIFs, I'm not going to go with GIFs. Let's just see, because I think majority of people still pronounce GIF. I don't understand it. Sharon, what about you? GIF or GIF?
No, I agree. I think it's definitely GIF. I think that's just how it reads when I look at it. It's just, GIF. And when I think of GIF, I think of, I don't know. I just read it as GIF. Yeah.
Okay.
So you read it as GIF with
GIF.
like a J sound.
With a J sound. I don't know whether perhaps I heard it before I read it. So then when I see it now, and every time I get one, I just see it as GIF. Yeah. So it's interesting. I know. Because most people definitely do say GIF. As in gift.
Yes, because GIF.
Yeah.
I had a friend at university whose last name was Gifford, and we used to call her Giffy. And so I just see the beginning of her surname. So it's GIF to me. Yeah.
All right.
Exactly.
Let's go with Andrew. Andrew, is it GIF or is it GIF? Oh, we've got you muted there. We'll unmute you. GIF or GIF?
When I hear GIF, I think of that cleaner that we used to have.
Yes.
I think when I hear GIF.
Yeah.
I can kind of see why people would pronounce it GIF. I think of like giraffe, for example. It starts with a G, but it's got a J sound.
Yeah.
So,
the owner, the guy who created it specifically was using it as a play on the cleaning product GIF for a marketing method to kind of have a pun on their marketing lines. And so that's why he chose it. But I still go, you can say that all you like, guy who created it.
The G still stands for graphic.
It's graphic. It's not giraffe. But I mean, I see your point. There is a precedent in the English language.
And I really like you're relating to people who think differently to you. You think it's GIF, but you get the G because of giraffe. I think that's a really beautiful way to put it, Andrew.
All right, Lena, what about you? GIF or GIF?
I'd say GIF all the way, but again, I can relate to some people who've got French background, and their pronunciation of G is a J, and I could see where that comes from, but I'd still go with graphic GIF all the way.
So maybe GIF is the Western English way of saying it, and GIF.
Yeah. GIF
is the French way.
So you, in the midst of making a reasonable argument, triggered me again, Lena, by referring to it as pronunciation, which for me that's the equivalent sort of, for me it's pronunciation, and I just can't.
Luke.
So I'm being triggered everywhere,
No,
all
Luke.
over the place here.
You cannot.
I know. We foster a
It's
community.
fine line.
Yeah. I know we foster a community that is passionately tolerant and understanding of other people having different opinions, and yet.
All right, then. Pronunciation just for you.
Don't listen to him, Lena.
Thanks,
He's
Lena.
got plenty wrong
Thanks.
in his pronunciation over
Thanks,
the last
Lena.
few years.
Hey, back
You-
off my mistakes.
He's learned it all from me.
She
humble.
might still be on about my inability to pronounce onion. Yeah, okay. Sharon, GIF or GIF?
GIF.
GIF?
It's a no-brainer.
Yes. Yeah. Although some would say us being so closed off might be the sign that our brain is not willing to engage. But I just can't wrap my head around the other option. I can't.
It's definitely GIF. That would be the first thing I thought of.
Yeah. This is one of those.
Or I was trying to think what the acronym was, and I thought it was Get In Front.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
Yeah. This is the GIF debate for me, Suze, is like the Coldplay debate, where some people really love Coldplay, but I dislike them immensely. I don't like their music, but I understand they're so popular that clearly I'm the one who's wrong, but I still can't bring myself to like it differently. I mean, clearly I've done the research. I'm wrong. He made it, and he said it's GIF, so it's GIF. But I just...
But we know, don't we, Sharon? We know.
It's GIF.
It's just GIF. It just is. It's what it is. Yep, I'm with you.
All right, that's it. We're going to have some open communication. I know we're live right now, but I probably, Suze, need you to take a little bit more of the reins of moving because of my toothache. I'm going to have to swig water. So just because I
Luke's
pause
in
doesn't mean
pain.
I'm stopped.
He did the good thing. He went and saw the dentist recently, but he's been in a lot of pain since. So he's just booked in the emergency appointment to get through the pain. But yes, we are going to move on to our next question here. This is a question, Luke, that's come through from Marilyn that we're going to be looking at today. And I think it's a really interesting one to look at because I think this speaks to more than just what the question's asking. This speaks to, are we creatures of habit or are we people who are constantly changing all over the place? The question is, do you always go to the same supermarket or do you use different ones?
Yeah, and the specific wording is, do you try different ones? And I just think, like, for me, that's important because of my answer, is that if I was, if all things were created equal, then I would use the same one over and over and over again. Because the biggest reason is that you then get to know where everything is.
Yes, familiarity. Yeah.
And that for me is really valuable because I'm so scatterbrained.
Yes, go straight to the aisle that you need. Yes.
And yet there is also this conflict that comes up out of pure laziness, that it's not necessarily the quickest. It's not necessarily the closest one that is my preference to go to. So sometimes when I'm tired or when I'm feeling a bit lazy, when I feel a bit exhausted, when I don't want to, then maybe I'll go to the other one. But it's not because I want to try a different one. It's just motivated by I want to be home as quick as I can back on the couch.
Yeah.
What about, so is your preference the same one?
No.
No, because you go, I never quite keep up with where your doing the shopping?
It depends on what I'm
Like
getting.
you literally have grocery shopped at every single one of the options.
Yeah, I have. Because if in my head, if I want to get a blueberry bagel, I need to
Right.
go to Woolworths because they don't have it at Coles.
Right. Okay.
But most of the shopping, it's good to do at Aldi because it's cheaper.
Right.
But if I just need some last minute, a couple of things just to make sure there's stuff for the school lunch boxes, I
Yeah.
won't go to any of them. I'll go to a local different supermarket.
Yeah.
And so I do not go to the same supermarket all the time.
And there's one that has the least option that is probably the priciest of all of them, but is often easily on our way home from a school drop off or pick up.
Or church or
and
whatever.
so therefore convenience makes it win.
Yes, exactly. All right. Well, what about you? We're keen to know from Maryland, do you always shop at the same supermarket or do you try different ones?
Kazzy,
what is it for you? Do you go to the same supermarket all the time?
we see Kazzy. We can hear some background noise, but we're not getting some voice. Have you got us, Kazzy? We might need to adjust and go. Yvette, what about you? Same supermarket?
No, I always switch it up because, different places have different things, and even when they're large supermarkets, like they've all got different kind of specialty areas. So I like.
So give us
to
your
switch it
lowdown.
up.
Give us your criteria.
I do Woolworths and Coles, and I go to a lot of different Asian grocers as well.
Yes, we've got a brilliant Asian grocer near us as well. Yes.
Oh, lovely. Yeah, like the greens, like the ones that I don't grow, they've got. And it's like, woo, yay.
Yeah.
And they're so cheap and they're local, so you're keeping the money local and it works.
We usually go to the
That's
Asian
good.
grocer when our 13-year-old's motivated to cook his Japanese food for us.
Oh,
So
yummy.
It usually means
does
we don't
really
have to do
well.
the cooking, so therefore we're fans of that.
It's so good. Every time. It's so good. Steph, how about you? Do you shop at the same supermarket all the time? You're committed, this is your place, or do you shop around? Try different ones.
Yeah, I'm a comfort creature of comfort, and I'm a lazy creature. So there's a supermarket with the underground parking, limited steps to get from my car to the supermarket. Also, my 12-year-old will help me do the shop, and she knows in that particular supermarket, she knows her aisles better than I do. She knows where everything is. So we can get the shopping done in half the amount of time if we go to that same place.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Do you know, one of the things that throws me out the most is if, let's say you're a Coles shopper or whether you're a Woolworths shopper and you know where everything is and you think, well, Coles is pretty much, they try and keep everything the same and Woolworths, but if there's a different size floor, then suddenly, like I've walked into a Coles and just stood just completely dumbfounded on the left side of the supermarket going, the deli should be here. but it wasn't. This particular one that had a deli in a different spot, and I didn't even know what to do with that.
And we're in trouble when they redesign. It's like, I don't know, once a year or something, they redesign and move the shelves and the spacing's changed. Yeah, they might have moved the deli around, and then we're just lost. Yeah.
There is one there's one, Steph, near us that when they change, they always do like a big, it's almost like a big reopening. And so the kids get balloons, they'll tour you around. It becomes like an event when they've redone the shop. And I quite like that,
do they?
actually. Yeah, it's only one of them. It's only one of the Coles that does it. But they make an event of it every time.
Do they give away free stuff?
No, but they are very kind to you, which is always very nice. Kazzy, how about you? Do you shop at the same supermarket or do you go to different ones?
Oh, pretty much always Woolworths. We've got to travel 80 k's to get to Woolworths, so it's always pretty much we go up once every month and do a big shop.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we have to use IGA. We've got nothing else, so we don't even have an Aldi in Tassie.
You are committed to the task.
Do you know, Marilyn, I was talking to someone the other day who does like big shops as well, but he lives right in the city and it's because he goes to Costco And he's someone who keeps his benches completely clean, but if you open his cupboards, they're just full of the same product because he just bulk buys everything at Costco.
But it's funny because this Costco bulk thing is like this new trend over the last decade. But I grew up where my family lived in Chinchilla and the nearest supermarket was so they deep freezers and bulk, and it was just how they functioned. It's like it's not new school. It's rural life.
Yeah, it's the norm for you, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it seems like the further you live away, the less help you get from the supermarket.
Yeah.
Like if you live next door, you can get delivery, but you live 80 kilometres away, you can't.
See, I don't know I could function like this because I would be like, Kaz, if you go away, and the theory is like you put enough food for a week for your dog and then he's got enough to eat for a week. But
that's not what happens.
The dog eats it in day one. I'm like that with anything we buy in bulk.
I've got 2 cats and I go away for a couple of days and they starve.
Yeah. See,
they eat all their food in the first day.
Yeah, so that is what we're like when we buy chocolate-coated almonds for Christmas.
Actually, it's true.
Gone within a day. We'll say we're not going to preheat these ones. Anyway, that's not how it works out.
No, it's not how it works out.
Let's go with wrap things up with Lena. Lena, are you same supermarket or do you try different ones?
I definitely try different ones. I actually enjoy going to different ones. And if there's a new one opening, I make sure I make a time to go to it.
Okay, now when there's a new supermarket opening, that is always a smart move to go to it because they often, first of all, there's hardly anybody there because everybody's still shopping at their old supermarket, but they often have really good specials when they're newly opened.
Yeah, follow the specials, and I do a lot of the bulk buying as well, whatever's on special. So I'm a bit of the, there's a mini supermarket in my pantry, and now I know why Luke has got a toothache if those almonds have come.
Yeah,
that explains a lot.
Yeah, thanks for piecing that together, Lena. I appreciate the powers of deduction that you've used there and the willingness to throw me under the bus.
I'm sorry. Couldn't resist. But no, definitely I do enjoy the idea of shopping. So I like to just go look around even if I'm not going to buy. So I do go to several.
You are probably the first person that I have heard talk about supermarket shopping like it's a thing that you enjoy. Like most people, and my experience is it's an endurance rather than an enjoyment.
No, it's for me. I zigzag through all the aisles, even though my husband makes me take a list because he's a list guy, and he said take the list, tick it off. I do that, but I still zigzag through because you just don't know what you're going to find, and you get new ideas on. I could make this, or this is special.
I like it.
I just pictured the scene of you going, "Yes, honey, I'll take the list." Whatever.
It comes along. It just
if it makes you feel better, I'll take it for a ride. It'll come on the journey with me. Yeah. And I'll even take a pen to pretend like I'm going to mark it off. Yeah.
I end up with double the list of stuff that weren't on there, the invisible.
Yes.
Yeah. How could you possibly prepare for everything you might possibly need? Out of control. I love it. Just watch out for those chocolate-coated almonds.
Yeah.
They're doozies.
Yes, they're...
We're going to take a look at a question. Now that we've been in the supermarket, we're actually going to look at a specific menu item. B has asked the question, have you ever had Taco Tuesdays? I don't think I ever have. Now, my understanding of Taco Tuesdays is just choosing to have tacos for dinner on a Tuesday. Right?
Well, yes, but it was am I correct in saying that it was just from the Lego movie? Or was the Lego movie referencing something that pre-existed?
Yeah, you've made a presumption there, Luke, because you started the sentence with, am I correct, with, I have no idea who would know the answer to that question. So we can presume you're correct if that's helpful. Sure. but I do remember seeing it on there. Our boys were
No,
very
it's from
much,
the 80s.
Is it from the 80s?
Yeah.
Because our boys have been very into the idea of Taco Tuesdays. One of our boys particularly loves tacos, and the other two will tolerate them. And so it's something that we can eat as a family for a meal without too much argument around. But Taco Tuesdays, is it a thing that you're into? Is it something that you do? Andrew, Taco Tuesdays, are you a taco eater? And if so, do you do it exclusively on a Tuesday?
I love a taco. I don't think it should be relegated to just one day of the week.
Yeah.
I tend to have it throughout the week. We have had taco-themed Tuesdays, but not on an ongoing basis. So.
Right.
As in, like, you have to come dressed as a taco to dinner?
No. No, just that dinner for that night was taco.
All right.
I was taking a sip of water when you said that, so it was had to work
Taco
really hard.
bunting over the table, and I like the idea of that.
That's good. Full.
We've done letter parties in our family where it's like we pick a letter, and if it's M, everybody's got to come dressed as something that starts with the letter M, and then all the food that we have starts with the letter M. And I think a taco theme would be great.
Yeah.
Come dressed as a taco,
Yeah.
dressed as your favourite taco topping.
Yeah. Alliteration eating is our specialty in our family.
We're really good at it.
Sharon, Taco Tuesday, has it been a thing that you've done?
Oh, definitely. We've got a great little place down the road, Miss Perez, and they do a Taco Tuesday, and they have amazing margaritas to go with them as well. So, yeah, we often go down there. And what I love about it is they just do so many different, fillings inside the tacos. So we get some great ideas. So when we have tacos at home, we try to replicate what we've had down at Mrs. Perez. But yeah,
So it sounds like you need to go there both Monday and Tuesday. So it's Taco Tuesday and Margarito Monday.
And why not Wednesday?
Yeah. As long as it's not Friday, it's Pizza Friday.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thirsty Thursday.
Yeah, we've been up for the pizza on Fridays as well. Vicky, how about you? When it comes to tacos, is it something you eat? And have you had tacos on a Tuesday?
Yeah, quite a while ago, Taco Bill's used to do a cheap Tuesday for tacos. So we did that a few times, especially for birthdays. We make sure it was the Tuesday night. We had tacos the other night, but I don't know that it was Tuesday. No, I don't.
We often would get into trouble with our children if we organised the tacos on a day that wasn't Tuesday. It was sort of, if we had it on a Wednesday, we just threw the equilibrium off.
Yeah.
They were unhappy with us.
What do you have on a Wednesday?
So if we had tacos on a Wednesday, but we don't have a set Wednesday.
But is it a W? Like Taco Tuesday? Is it a...
Well, I don't. We haven't.
No.
But I think it's just because of the Lego Movie. Our kids just then kind of went, that's it. It's the one thing. Pizzas on Fridays and tacos on Tuesdays.
Wellington Wednesdays.
Ah.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah. I was thinking, that was going to plague me, Vicky. What
Really?
starts with a W for a Wednesday
Yeah,
night?
I know. There's not too many foods that I can think of. Watermelon Wednesday?
Yeah.
Not in winter.
Wonton? Waffles. Waffle Wednesday.
Waffle Wednesday.
Oh, waffles, yeah.
That could work.
Yeah.
That could work. Sharon, how about you? Taco Tuesday, is it a thing for you?
I thought it was just on the ad. People just do
Oh.
it from the ad on the television. I saw it and I went, "Oh, Taco Tuesday. That's when you're supposed to have them." Didn't have a clue.
Right. Yeah. Well, apparently it started in 1989 with Taco John's in America was the first ones to kind of noted
Look at
to
you.
have done this. Yeah.
Researching as you go.
Researching. Yeah.
I'm right out of the loop then because I just saw the ad on the TV the other day and went, "Oh, Tuesday tacos. Guess I'm behind the times."
So it's
I
not
love
been a
that.
thing for you? Tacos on
No.
a Tuesday?
No.
Pizzas on a Friday?
We do have tacos, but I don't relegate it to any particular days.
Yeah.
No, pizza's just when I decide to make dough and,
Yeah.
I just have a look in the freezer and think, oh, I'm going to cook today. Oh, yeah, that'll do.
Yeah.
It's like a choose your own adventure at Sharon's place. Who knows what you're going to... It's a lucky dip.
Yep. Suze?
Anything,
They
any
never
night.
They never complain, but
No, of course not.
Wiener Schnitzel Wednesday.
Yeah, I
Wiener
was
Schnitzel
thinking-
Wednesday.
Okay,
Yeah, that's a winner. It was either that or Whiskey Wednesday, but we'll go with the Wiener Schnitzel. You think? All right, we got Wednesday covered. There
Wednesday, it'll be good.
we go. Worst sausage.
you might not be able to put children on Whiskey Wednesday. That might not be it.
It's probably true. Yvette, what about you? Taco Tuesday, is it a thing you've done?
It is a thing I've done. It's not something I've ever kept up though. But I made the filling and they were delicious. First time I ever used turkey mince, I think it was too. And it was really good. Yeah. I surprised myself.
Very nice. Oh, the thing I like about this conversation, it might seem like a little tongue-in-cheek, sort of insignificant conversation, but what I know from our family is, even though it came from a silly animated movie for us, for our kids, these are the memories and these are the things that our kids, and like to turn just eating a meal into a game that creates memories. I just think there's lots that we take for granted that can actually make our kids' lives and our lives sort of a bit more fun.
Oh.
Yeah, that's it. Right on.
There's some great suggestions coming through in comments too. Dana does Wing Wednesday. Wings, of course. Didn't even think of that. Yeah. Alison does Sausage Sunday.
Yeah.
Mark does pizza on a Sunday after church. That makes sense because it's often a later night. That's good and you don't have to think about it. Such good ideas. Steal them all. You'd have every night of the week.
Mark would eat tacos when he was younger, but never specifically on a Tuesday. So you missed out on an opportunity there, Mark. But I do like the idea of Wing Wednesday.
Yeah. Well, wings any night for you, I think.
Or Wiener Schnitzel or Wing Wednesday. They can alternate, maybe, Suze.
All right. I'll alternate. Well, we're heading into some travel mode now.
Producer Sammy's been on an airplane recently.
Yes.
She's been talking about her travel experiences on the show. And it's led her to, there's been lots of experiences that she's had. And so we've done a fair bit of traveling over our time. So the conversation has been about airports. Because for a lot of people, these are unfun places. But we want to explore whether they have ever been a fun place. And have you ever had fun in an airport? So what's the most fun thing at an airport for you?
Singapore Airport is a very fun airport and there's loads of great things to do.
Yeah.
We have had the privilege of being able to travel quite a few times with CBM to go and look at their work with the Miracles Day eye surgeries. So we're often, when we're travelling for that, we're travelling in a big group with other announcers and producers from around the country, and mucking around in Singapore Airport with that group was a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
I think it was at Singapore Airport for me, which I go is my most fun as well. And it was the first time ever I had an international lounge, and the lounge I was in had a shower and a masseuse.
Masseuse?
Yeah. And I tell you what, I booked a massage. I had a long enough stopover that that was, it wasn't fun like, it was like, it was good.
Yeah.
It was a spa day in my stopover at the airport. You never feel fresh at the airport, but I did on this particular trip because I showered and massage and it was so good.
Years and years and years ago, before I met you, I travelled with a co-worker. We worked for World Vision at the time, and we went over to Kenya to look at some of the work, and we went from Brisbane to Singapore to Dubai, and we had a big stopover in Singapore, and so we actually got a room so that we could have a shower and a nap. That was actually really nice.
Producer Sammy, who has done the travelling recently, did you have any specific fun in the airport, Sammy?
Absolutely. So same as you guys, it was at Singapore, but they've built that new Jewel, which kind of has I want to say an adult playground. Of course, kids are allowed. It's all shapes and sizes, but there were things that I would not fit in. So then I had to do only the adult stuff. But there was a glass floor bridge. There was netting that bounced, and then it had like soccer things. So you had to bounce, and you had to kick these giant clear balls. And of course, Lachlan has big legs, so I never scored. But it was just like, the balance and the bouncing. And then it's at the highest level of the airport. So you're doing all of this above everyone else. You do not want to put your foot through the net. Would not recommend. But, otherwise, it was great fun.
I generally like to enjoy life, but I don't think I could ever spend time with you at an airport. Listen to you. You're like a child who's just gone to the circus.
It was so much fun.
See, airport is where I need to chill, not where I get all hyped up. You sound like you're a hyperactive child who's just had some red cordial and there's a jumping castle.
There were bubbles and smoke and flowers. It was... You wouldn't need to sleep, Luke.
I like you, Sammy. I like you, but I couldn't do that with you. And it must have been genuinely a kid's thing if you go, oh, you were too big for it. There was no chance I'm getting
No
there.
way. No way.
Luckily, they had multiple options. It was like a whole experience in the duel. So yeah, it was
Wow.
best time.
Let's change the question away from what's the most fun you've had at an airport to could you see yourself travelling with Sammy and not going insane?
No, don't
Steph, what about you? Most fun you've had at an airport?
Yeah, I had to really think about that because I'm not a huge fan. But actually, before I had my children, I took a trip to Germany with my mum, but we were on different flights, so we met up in Germany. And at the airport, she's mumbling to me with her hand over her mouth. I'm going, oh, you're all right. Oh, my tooth just fell out. One of her back, like, what is it, fake tooth or whatever. Like it's meant to be permanently in there. Had just randomly fallen out, but she was just so anxious about people noticing that she's missing this tooth. But that just brightened up my whole travel. I was laughing so hard. It made my day.
Well,
that's hilarious.
That just hit some dark humour very quickly, didn't it?
Yeah. Welcome to my family.
I do remember at the airport was where I first discovered our former producer Mel, where she ordered a now let me get a black coffee with milk.
I like a long black with
milk.
No,
yes, but she just went, "Can I have a black coffee with milk?" Like, well, then it's not black if it's with milk. Like you can't can I order a drink of milk with some coffee and water in it, please? I don't understand the language. She just thinks it was reasonable, but I
think it was reasonable too, actually. But
all right, where are we going to go?
Each to their own. Let's go to Lena. What's the most fun you've ever had in the airport, Lena?
I must say, Qatar Airport. They've got a huge playground there.
Where?
I didn't go at Doha Airport in Qatar.
Okay, yeah.
So we travelled a few years ago now with the kids, and I loved it because the kids had somewhere to be where I could just sit down and watch them and not have to keep them entertained. So that was the best for me. All the other travels were just us sort of running through airports, trying to make transit, make sure everybody's there. But Doha Airport was the best fun they've ever had, and I enjoyed it, like I said, because I could actually see them getting all the energy out before we hopped onto the next plane.
Yeah.
So good. That's why airports often aren't fun, though, isn't it? Because often transits are too short and you've got to make sure you're at the right gate. And if they change the gate, it can be so stressful.
Absolutely.
Dana has written a message through, said, my most fun at the airport experience was at the Boston airport. She said, I'm not sure if they still do, but they had a complete replica of the Cheers bar from the TV show back in the 80s.
Oh, wow.
Which I'd love to, if I got there and it was the Cheers bar, I'd walk in and go, do you know my name? Do you know my name? Do you know my name? Because wouldn't it be nice to get away where everybody knows your name and they're always glad you came?
All the time.
All the time, yeah.
Vicky, have you had fun in the airport, Vicky?
Yeah, we used to have fun. They don't do it anymore, but in Sydney, each time we were passing through there, we'd get our $2 and we'd run up to the massage chairs and we'd sit in there. And my husband and I be side to side. We'd have our $2 ready to do it at the same time, and off it goes. Oh, it was the best.
It's one way to make yourself look forward to getting to the airport.
See, I wouldn't mind that. But those chairs mostly have the calf massage thing as well, and so you slip your legs into them. But my calves are too wide for ski boots and those chairs, and
not
so
designed for it.
So I'm surprised in this you haven't mentioned your experience at the Singapore airport, where you randomly stalked a celebrity.
I did. I randomly. It's because you race it all the time.
Yeah.
I did randomly stalk a celebrity who I happened to see, who is someone that we have interviewed multiple times.
Yeah.
And I happened to see him there. And his name's gone from my head.
Rick Price.
Rick Price. I'm like, it's Rick, but it's not Rick Astley. It's not Rick Astley. It's his name, Rick Price.
Yeah.
And he was looking, I don't know how you look when you get to an airport when you're in an international transit, but I don't look good. I look tired generally, and my hair's not in a good space. There is no makeup, so it's not. He was absolutely sharp.
Yeah. He did look like he was just prime ready to get on stage.
Yeah. Could have just walked on stage. Would have been ready to go.
If you think you can get away with it, you would wear your pajamas and slippers to the airport too.
I would. I think they should make it a policy, particularly for long haul flights. Sharon, have you had fun in an airport before?
Yeah, it always starts out fun because the fun I have is at the bar. You're about to go on holiday, so you meet your mates at the bar and it's all exciting. And so it always starts out really good. But then, from there it can sort of go down a bit coming home or, running between flights, falling asleep. Crazy hours is the other one as well. I remember a few of the trips, our flight time, especially coming back from Bali, it's always such a late sort of flight time and you've spent the day sort of out and about and maybe having another couple of beers. This sounds like I drink quite a lot.
Yeah.
Tuesday night bar at the airport.
Sharon, we've got a phone number. We're going to connect you with the right people to get the support that you need.
Thanks. Always starts out good.
Yeah, I like that, and I think that's probably actually the most true perspective, isn't it? Because we probably hang on to the best times in our head, but the reality when you're there, it starts fun.
Yeah,
and then the 4th hour into a transit stop, it's
when you travel with children. You can always say, well, it started off fun.
Yes, started off exciting.
Yeah.
Until your son loses a shoe in an escalator.
Yes.
Which is what our son did.
In Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
Got eaten.
Sharon, have you had fun in an airport?
I would have to say hands down Fiji. When you turn up at airport, they usually are there with their ukuleles singing to you when you come in.
That's really nice.
Make you feel really welcome. Yeah.
Oh, that sounds brilliant.
Yeah.
Let's go to Fiji just to try and get that experience with the ukuleles.
They're just beautiful, and they greet you with songs. It's like, oh my gosh, this is so lovely.
Actually, can you do that every time I walk in the house after a day's work or something, Sue?
No, I don't think that's going to happen.
The family greet me with a song? No?
No, probably not. Probably not.
Obviously, you don't even love me. Have we gone to Kazzy? Let's wrap things up with Kazzy. Have you ever had fun in an airport, Kazzy?
Not fun, but interesting times, yes.
Okay,
we'll take Melbourne Airport and standing in the middle of the airport, just me and my partner, and somebody ran into me, and I turned and apologised, and there was nobody there.
Okay.
Ooh.
Somebody literally ran into me and bumped my arm and knocked it, and I could feel it. And I turned to apologise, and there was no one there.
No one.
Oh, my goodness.
That's weird and creepy.
That is a bit weird and creepy.
So interesting, definitely interesting.
Yeah, I can see why you use the word interesting, because you're not quite sure.
Airport if I can.
It's funny because there was somebody who's telling a story. I bumped into this woman. She didn't even apologise.
That's
right. But I forgot one of my best experiences. It was at the airport, just getting onto a plane. Was when I was in LA and I was flying off to Nashville. And Chris Sebastian, the winner of The Voice Australia, was getting onto the plane with me, and we got chatting, and then we organised to have an American barbecue, and I invited him over to a guy's place, and we had barbecue together. This was just before he won The Voice, and we did some brisket in the States, and it's to this day both of our best briskets we've ever eaten. And I was chatting to him just the other week about our brisket. And it's funny because we had this moment where we're like, I was saying, man, I think of you all the time. And I was watching this TV show. And he goes, I think of you when I watch a TV show. And we were sharing the memories we have of each other over barbecuing and hunting stories from America. It was very, very fun.
Very nice. Well, we're going to take a little bit of a look at an interpretation of a question that's come through. We get sent questions all the time for us to look at, and people come into our community to try and find solutions to their problems. And Megan has done that, but we might have misinterpreted the question. She says, I'm posting here for advice on dealing with my son's honesty.
Now is this comment here from Sammy, or is this Sammy? So you got this, you were filtering through. Tell me about what you read and understood when Megan asked the question.
Well, I think it was that she had the two honest with like the capitals, and I was like, oh, okay, so yeah, obviously, you know, kids are saying embarrassing things, you know, normal, that was what I did. But now it was actually not what she meant. But I think, you know, as you said, Luke, I see the world in unicorns and rainbows.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody's animated in your world,
Okay.
Sammy.
I just need to pause on this for a second because you went, oh, yeah, being too honest and saying something awkward, overly honest, because that's what I did. Confession time, Sammy. What did you do?
So in my friend group, there's a joke that I'm the bus driver, because if you tell me something, then I know it. And I don't assume that it's like a secret. So if someone else asks me something, I'm cool, yep, and I just tell them what I know. And apparently that's not what you do. So I'm just too honest. I just tell people everything.
Zero filter. When you start, that mouth it goes and it gets excited and just says stuff.
That's why I work with you.
Yeah.
Talking is our business.
We know that there's no secrets around the office, that's for sure. Sammy's always on the reveal.
I was trying to think about this. So the question we're posing initially on the back of Megan's question is, has your child ever said anything too honest in public? Oh, I can't think. Can you think of any with our children?
Look, it's probably more with my nephew than specifically our children, because and a part of it is he was diagnosed Asperger's, and so he wouldn't necessarily know the art of not everything is well received, even if it's true. And so often he would walk into your house and go, "Wow, your house is a mess, isn't it?" Or he'd just say a reflection that went through his mind that the average person learns to keep to yourself. But it took him a while longer in life to start to learn those skills. Sometimes they're a little bit too honest and tell you too much. Have you had that experience? That's what we want to explore. Have you ever had...
Yeah, whether it's your child being too honest or a child being too honest about you at some point, which can be just as awkward, I think, at times.
Yep.
Let's go with Steph on this one. Steph, have you experienced a child's honesty?
Yeah. So I've worked with children for many, many years. Let's stick with my own two children. My youngest is very honest on the spectrum as well. She's commented on everything. So people in wheelchairs, why are they in that? Why aren't they walking? Why have they got crutches? Why is that man's skin colour darker? All of them, okay, it's not too bad. Able to give an honest answer. We're born this way, accidents happen. I, however, while out at a restaurant, had a young child come up to me and say, "Oh, you've got a baby in your tummy." No,
darling. No.
Dad came over, was absolutely mortified. I was laughing. I'm not offended. I'm not skinny. That's okay. That's all right.
Yeah. The baby honesty when there's no pregnancy is the most awkward.
My child saying it to someone else. I'd rather say it to me than the other way around.
Yeah. My mum was just telling my children the story about when I was younger, and she had this secret from her childhood, which is a funny story about how she stole some eggs and then they broke and then they hid it and they blamed it on the dogs. And she told me this story, and it was this funny laugh out moment of things she got away with. And then as a child, I was telling that story to the woman whose farm it was.
Oh.
And I gave away Mum's secret after, it was a 30-year secret.
Whoopsie daisy.
Yeah.
Whoopsie daisy.
I also took her love letters to my dad to school for show and tell and handed them out to all the kids at school. Maybe that's a little bit too honest with their relationship.
I would suggest so.
When she gets a call from the principal and says, "Hi, Denise, it's so lovely to know so much about your love life." I think, what did he say? I don't think it's fair that not everybody in the school got a copy. So, yeah.
Andrew, have you experienced the extreme honesty of children?
Not personally myself, but I am the principal of a little Sunday school, and we often have the young children, letting us know who's pregnant and who's having children long before the parents have the chance to share the news themselves. So we've got a bit of an inside track there, little inside sources, which is quite handy.
Goodness. Do you keep it to yourself or do you go up and say, I heard something about you?
No, we do try to keep it to ourselves until they tell us, and then we try to act surprised, like, oh, no idea.
That's amazing.
Yeah, you want to protect your sources, Suze.
Yeah,
a good journo never reveals the source.
Right.
Yvette, have you ever experienced the extreme honesty of children?
Well, I don't have any kids myself, but I have taken friends' kids like out shopping and things like that, and standing in line with a little boy. He would have been about 6 or 7, and there was a man in front of us, and he had a prosthetic leg, and the young boy goes, "Wow, what's wrong with his leg?" And like really loud as well. And I'm like, oh, and I'm like, he must have had an accident. And so that was embarrassing. I think my face went quite red. But like, the kid didn't know, and because it caught me so off guard, I didn't know how to approach it.
Yes.
And I was a bit stuck for an answer.
Yep, I can imagine. You feel like all eyes are on you in that moment, and you have to try and somehow fix it. Yeah. Oh, it's challenging.
Yeah.
Lena, have you experienced the extreme honesty of children?
Trying to think back, maybe I'm trying to think which kid it was now, but when you say at a taking them and they need to go on a ride or something, and then there's an age limit. So one of my daughters, who's she's very specific about everything. So she wouldn't have been 10 yet, and you sort of had to be 10 to be on this. I'm trying to think what the ride was now, or it was some sort of thing event. And she really wanted to be on it, and she's quite capable. So I said, look, that's fine. Line up with your sister, and it'll be all right. And very loud in front of the attendant says, "Oh, but I'm not 10 yet, and it says you have to be 10." I'm like, you could have just gone,
Oh, child.
All of a sudden, I was like, they now had a responsibility to say, no, you can't go on, because, But, just things like that.
Yeah.
They don't know when to be quiet.
Don't know.
It's kind of nice though that when they are honest like that though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like trying to follow the rules.
Yeah, I'm good for calling out your parents if they're lacking integrity. That's good. Saves the adult having to do it. It is an interesting one, like where this honesty, because how much is it that we go, the kids are just saying things they don't know when not to say it, versus how much do we hold back saying things that maybe we should have said. And it's an interesting one to explore that kind of. I think it's fun. It's sometimes embarrassing, but maybe there's something a little bit deeper that we can learn from the conversation.
Probably.
We want to take a second part look at this though, because this whole premise of the question that came through to the show was not about about kids being too honest. It actually was about not being honest enough and a constant lying. And we've got 3 kids. We got one of those kids is almost always 100% honest, and if he doesn't want to tell you, he won't lie. He'll just tell you he doesn't want to tell you.
Yeah,
I don't want to answer that question because he just can't help but to be truthful. We have another one who believes he's always telling the truth. His version of events is often a little bit biased.
Yeah.
But he's not deliberately trying to tell an untruth. He just can't filter his own interpretation out of it. And then we've got a third one who has a history, Suze.
Yeah.
Of like it's barely a true word can come out of his mouth when there's some risk of trouble. And it's been an interesting one to navigate.
It has been. We got some advice well before we even had our own children. It was from people who they'd taken in quite a number of foster children and often teenagers. And they said, our rule in our home is always, you will never get in trouble if you tell the truth. Like to the point where they were saying, you can drive a car into the house, steal all our jewellery with a friend and go and sell it at a pawn shop. But if you tell us that that's what you've done and you are honest about it, you won't get in trouble.
Which is easy to say.
Yeah.
But gosh, when it's something that's significant or that triggers you, it can be very hard to actually execute that. And I found that as a challenge. But but actually for us, that's been a critical part with dealing with this one child is to go like the thing you're in trouble with is holding on stubbornly to the lie that we know is a lie.
Yeah.
just sort of accept the fact that you're not in trouble for the truth, but you've got to make it as safe a place as possible because we only lie to avoid the risk of the trouble that we think we're going to be in. And it seems that his perception of trouble is heightened and his then desire to avoid it is heightened. But he's growing. He's growing. I feel like we're pushing through the other side and we're not dealing with it. But
well, I think his desire to please us all the time is moving away. So it's not, he doesn't feel the same pressure to always have to get things right like he might have before. But it's an interesting question we're going to look at, trying to help Megan today. If you've got a child who is lying, are there things and strategies, ideas that you have that might be helpful to them? It's a really, really tricky one to try and take a little bit of a look at. Let's go to Sharon. Sharon, how do you think you might be able to address if you've got a child who's lying a lot?
Well, having been in education for a long time, I always say to them that and my husband and I have 4 grown boys now. I have always said to them, I'll always find out. Somehow or some way, I always find out. And I do.
Yeah.
So you might as well just tell me the truth now. Yeah.
It's the quickest ways through. Yeah.
Quickest way. And my son used to say to me all the time, Mum, I can't believe you always find out. And I said, I told you. Oh. And he repeats it back to me now at 25 and says, I can't believe you always found out. And I said, I told you. And I had no idea how I was going to find out. And I didn't really know that I was going to find out. But I just tell them that. You might as well tell me now. So I'm going to find out anyway. And then they just usually cave and go, okay.
Yeah. So you only really need 2 or 3 moments of a case study where you're proved right. And even if there's 97 times where you don't find out, you highlight the 3 and it feels like you're always finding out.
All four of them, I used to say that to all of them. My husband has 3, I have 1. So we have 4 grown boys now, and I would say that to all of them. And it always worked out. I always found out whether they were up to no good or they were lying to me. And they still cannot believe it to this day. I cannot believe you always find out.
Yeah, my mum played a trick on me one time. She knew there was a big secret. She took a hunch that maybe it was me that was lying about it, and she pretended like she found something and then offered me an opportunity to make a confession. And she played it so beautifully well. I took the shot of going honesty and then asked her what she found or how she found it. She found nothing. She just played a hunch and played me like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize how.
I would always say when they told me the truth, thank you for being honest. That was always the first thing I would say. Thank you for being honest, but now there has to be a consequence for your actions. But I always praise them for saying, well, thank you for being honest. I really appreciate that. It's so much better because I'm going to find it, and I have.
Let's go with Steph. Steph, have you experienced this, and how did you navigate the kids sort of not telling the truth?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, my youngest is known for little white lies here and there, especially if it's something where she knows she's done the wrong thing.
Yeah.
And I tend to talk about that guilt that she's feeling, that awful yuck feeling, because she's instantly upset. As soon as I begin saying, well, hold on, you lied to me, her face, she's not happy. Feels awful, and we talk about and the fact that God doesn't want us to lie. That's why you're feeling so awful. It's just that yuck feeling, and if you don't want to feel that way, tell the truth. We all make mistakes. We're human beings. We're not perfect, and that's okay. But if you don't want to feel yuck about it, just be honest. Just admit that I made a mistake, and then let's just fix it and get it over and done with. Apologize. I'll always forgive you. So,
that's good.
One of the ones that always used to confuse me, and we've managed to coach him out of this one, but our oldest, it would be like I'd look in the rear view mirror and I'd see him swing his elbow and elbow his brother in the head. His brother would then cry and say, Tyson elbowed me in the head. And he would say, I didn't even touch him. And I went, dude, I saw you. He goes, no, I didn't touch. And he would just double down on it. And I'm like, I'm not asking you for whether you did. I saw it.
Yeah.
Like, stop it.
Yeah, that's a tricky one to navigate because, the guilt's not quite there, is it? They're going to pushing you to try and get away with it. You were seeing things, Dad.
I was being gaslit by my 11-year-old son. Lucky I stood my ground.
Andrew, have you got any tips on how to deal with lying children? You work with children a little bit there. You got any ideas?
Yeah, I think I've got two daughters. They're quite young, and I'm all to that stage now where they are learning honesty and dishonesty and trying to get out of things. And I'm trying to show them the effects of lying, how when they get caught out, how it creates like an inability for people to believe what they're saying, and how it creates a pattern that makes it hard for people to trust them. That's where I'm at the stage where trying to show them that sort of part of it.
Yeah, which is a part of the conversation with our oldest.
Particularly with Tice.
Yeah, because we say about him with the youngest, he goes, why don't you believe me? I'm like, well, let's go through the history of if your little brother says something and you say something, you know that he never lies, but you do. So we instinctively question your statement, but we believe his because of the track record.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. It's a pretty direct line between honesty and trustworthiness, isn't it? Sharon, any thoughts from you? How can we handle things when our children start to lie?
Yeah, that is very tricky. And my children are now grown, but I do remember just trying to explain to them, what lying is. Like if they understand what they're actually doing, because a lot of the time it's just a reaction that they'll take to sort of protect themselves. So, just sort of making sure they understand what's involved with lying and what the consequences are, and also understanding that it is okay to lie sometimes. Like I remember one time my husband told my children a secret that he'd bought me for a birthday present. Yeah. And when I asked Emma, did Dad buy me a present? She kind of looked at me and I could see she was like really not wanting to tell me, but she was torn to not lie. So then she, of course, blurted it all out and told me exactly what was going on. So, so I think, I think we navigated it that way. We basically just sort of really make them understand, what it is they're doing by lying. And it normally leads to more lies as well. So that's...
Well, it is the interesting thing because I spent some time breaking down with our kids what we determined as a lie and deliberately wording things. So knowing, even though technically you never said anything untrue, but it's going to lead the other person to interpret something differently, like that deliberate manipulation of language is an untruth, which is equivalent to lying. And yet we will do some of those things in a way we deem appropriate to save someone's feelings on issues that it doesn't matter, but we're trying to protect them. And so how do you learn that line to what we see is we're not going to tell the whole truth because it's unnecessary hurt versus we expect them to tell us the truth all the time, and how do they know when to switch that on and off?
Yeah, exactly. And I think I think when they identify with lies that have had bad consequence, where they have been caught out compared to lies that they haven't, I think as they grow, they learn from the ones, I think they'll understand, the lying basically is something that they shouldn't be doing and that they should be being. So I think they just sort of navigate and learn, as long as they're understanding when you are catching them in lies, that there's consequences and the reason why you're providing that consequence, because, it's not a good thing to be a liar and be, dishonest, untrustworthy and,
exactly. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Excellent. That's so good. It's such a good discussion to have. We're actually going to get some more professional answer on this question as well in the coming days as well. But for now, that's just about us a wrap for today. Thank you so much for your time and for being with us.
And to help soothe my toothache while we've been going, I've been sipping on water and now I'm busting to go to the loo.
I thought you were starting to wriggle a little bit next to me. Well, we'll catch you next time.
Thank you.
Bye.